Hi everyone, welcome back. You'll notice a few days ago I talked a little bit about my bigger why. And if you dived into the language a little bit more, you'll notice that it was presented in the feminine mode. But in fact, there's a masculine equivalent, and the reason why I want to make the distinction between the feminine and the masculine is not that you're speaking to a specific gender audience, whether you're speaking to women or to men, but in fact, we're talking about the spirit of the work, the spirit of the language, the spirit of the energy itself. And it's not also, let me be clear, it's not to say that one is better than the other, but it's important to understand when it's a feminine approach and when it's a more masculine approach and why you make those adaptations, and that it's not selling yourself short and it's not selling out, but in fact that you're making it much more purposeful and easier for the specific audience that you're talking to, for them to understand, because you're meeting them where they are. And we may speak English as a language, but in fact doesn't necessarily mean we're speaking the same language. And so let me show you how I translate the mechanism I use, which I call the Trojan Horse approach, to switching from the feminine to the masculine. And so you'll hear that my bigger why was helping to create, in very basic terms, helping to open up a platform for success for young people by targeting the adults, the adults in their lives, the people who have the greatest impact. The masculine equivalent to that is I work with companies and leaders who are committed to cultivating leadership effectiveness and its impact on people, performance, and profit. So on balance, it looks like they're different, but in fact, to me, there's a lot of symmetry, because what I'm doing is I'm targeting a very specific point, an inflection point where you have the widest critical mass downstream impact, that whole ecosystem. Because working with companies and working with leaders, you can assume that there's direct reports, and those direct reports have other direct reports. So there's this cascade, wider ecosystem impact. And when you're looking at the viability of something, so ultimately I'm trying to create success, harmony for young people, sustainability, the ability to grow and be innovative. So when we look at that from the masculine, for companies to survive and thrive, they have to be profitable. Now, whether or not the word profitable rubs you the wrong way or elicits some kind of response, a company does need to be profitable in order to survive and thrive and to make economic contributions. Without being profitable, there are no jobs to offer and to contribute to society at large. Now, in order to be profitable, a company's performance has to be in alignment with that. Now, in order to open up a platform where performance allows for profitability, we need to focus on people within the organization. In order to tap into the potential of people, we need effective leadership to really be the charging battery that allows all that to happen, to kind of almost like an on and off switch, to turn it on, to allow it to exist, allow it to breathe life into the world. So for me, there's a lot of symmetry between the two, because I'm looking at the point at which I can have the greatest impact by delivering my work to people who are connected to wider ecosystems within their context, so that they're moving that forward. Because in both cases, it's about moving it forward, making sure that where we started isn't where we ended. And if there was a specific starting point, we can still overcome that with the right mechanisms in place. And so I call this the Trojan Horse approach, because whether I'm talking to a masculine audience, I may talk, in terms of leadership effectiveness and its impact on profit, people, performance, and profit. But inside of that, I'm still talking about success for young people and wider ecosystem and that social responsibility. And if I'm talking to an audience where the feminine resonates more, it's still bringing in the qualities of effective leadership. And so it's the same work, but I'm making the orientation to meet my audience where they are, meeting my clients where they are, and speaking their language so that they can better understand the value of my work and whether or not it resonates with them.